September 12th, 2001. I was reporting from near Ground Zero, and I met a woman who was volunteering to pass out snacks and drinks to the first responders. When this time of year comes around, I've periodically tried to find her, and today I did. Estelle Walden was 76 years old 20 years ago when I spotted her in a bright yellow rain slicker and bright red lipstick. I estimate the time we spent together that day to be about 4 minutes. And that 4 minutes was enough to make a significant imprint on me because her giving spirit was something to behold. This is part of the report I filed almost 20 years ago to this day. Food and produce of what must be 100 supermarkets fill the streets. 76-year-old Estelle Walden is helping pass it out to weary rescuers.
Oh, everyone says thank you or no thank you, ma'am. Every single one. It's so courageous, but the thing is, they're so appreciative. They've even saying to me, thank you and bless you.
She lives a block away, has been out here since the attack, and she's tired.
I had to go upstairs and I felt guilty. I was so exhausted.
You shouldn't feel guilty. All these years, I've been spelling Estelle's last name incorrectly, and the internet wouldn't tell me anything about her. Today on Twitter, someone I don't know, but someone I'm very thankful for, found the correct spelling, and it led me to Estelle. First, to an article written in 2014 about the building she lived on the 39th floor of in Tribeca. That's Estelle, laying on the couch. This picture was taken by a longtime neighbor, photographer Susan Rosenberg-Jones. Today on the phone, Susan told me Estelle was a pleasure and was always in bright lipstick and fingernails painted, even in the days and weeks before her death. Estelle died November 25th last year. She was 95. Through the photographer who took that picture you just saw, I connected with her son, Daniel, one of her 5 children. I told Daniel the 4 minutes I spent with his mother 20 years ago live with me, and I feel it so much around 9/11. He says everything about the woman in that story from 2 decades ago is 100% his mom, and he shared what he wrote in her obituary. Known for her dramatic style of dress and warm, engaging smile, not to mention her requisite red lipstick, Estelle always had time to both give and receive a hug and pass on an optimistic word of encouragement to those who might be having a bad day. I've learned she was a fabulous cook who had her croissants picked up by the food company Dean and DeLuca back in the 90s. Her love for animals was legendary, her son says. She was a dancer, model, cabaret singer, and actress. Her son says more than anything, it was her emotional connection with others that stands out about her life. A church in Camillus is keeping its doors open all night tonight, remembering those killed on 9/11. The names of the victims from that day are being read as we speak. CBS 5's Abby Buttacavoli is with the Live Eye in Camillus right now.
Michael, what's happening behind me is an all-night vigil. Clergy members and members of this church are reading all of the names of the victims of 9/11, all 2,977 of them.
Guy Barzivi, Indiana Bazinia, Alicia Christine Burton.
In a quiet church in Camillus, Holy Family, the names of those who died on September 11th in 2001 are called out.
Patrick Adams, Shannon Lewis Adams, Stephen George Adams.
One by one, nearly 3,000 people, each with their own stories, remembered here on the eve of the 9/11 attacks.
You know, we can get so caught up in our lives that we tend to forget from time to time. And this says, let's stop, let's take a break, and let's just be in prayer and remember those people who lost their lives.
Pastor John Mano and fellow church leaders at the top of every hour leads parishioners in prayer and the reading of these names until the clock strikes 8 a.m., 12 hours total to remember and honor the fallen.
I think for all of us, we just believe it's a small thing that we can do to remember the great loss of 9/11/2001.
Mano looks at the pews, many in them who remember that day so vividly, where they were, what they were doing, how they felt. But Mano sees young faces too.
There's a whole generation of people who were not even born. And so it's important that we tell that story and give witness to our patriotism.
Members of this church rushed to assist in the cleanup after the 9/11 attacks. Some of their gear on display to say thank you. From Pastor Mano, a message of hope.
When people come together, they can pull us out of that pain and grief and suffering and really give us a sense of hope.
This vigil will conclude tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Following will be the tolling of bells, 4 times to symbolize each plane crash on 9/11.
9/11 for me, I mean, that will always be something I'll never forget. As a reporter, just as a person.
Beekman Downtown Hospital said 3 people were dead on arrival there and 20 were...
I couldn't believe it. It was surreal. The damage, we got to about 6 or 7 blocks, so as close as we could get. The rubble was 10 stories high. What I'll always remember was the smell and the ash was so deep it was like snow. It was over my shoes, over my ankles. In that ash were bits and pieces of office equipment, papers, and even I saw a skull fragment with red hair attached to it, which was pretty disturbing. Came across a shopkeeper. He was out in front with a mask on, sweeping. So I interviewed him, and he ended up saying, you know, kind of embodied that spirit, which we have to keep going, can't let the terrorists win.
A lot of hours, I haven't stopped.
We talked to one firefighter in particular. I remember he was exhausted, they all were, but he had friends there that were missing and was wanting to go back as soon as he could. They were making him stay, take oxygen. That was also pretty powerful. We were there for several days, and over the course of several days, flyers went up for family looking for missing family members. And we talked to a woman looking for her son. People just came and showed up. One guy was a contractor, he just showed up. I interviewed him. You know, and we went back 10 years later, and he had gotten sick, like a lot of the rescue workers, and he unfortunately passed away.
This used to be a Con Ed truck. Now all that is left is this hulking, twisted wreckage.
Just seeing that kind of devastation and that kind of heartache, it's something that you'll never forget. And I've been to several different combat zones and reported in Afghanistan and Africa, but on U.S. soil, to see that, something you never thought you would see, it's surreal. Just a couple of months ago, spent the weekend down by Lower Manhattan, and the Freedom Tower is there. I had not seen it. So that brought back some memories seeing it, and I think now looking back, it is hard to believe it was 20 years ago. But at the other hand, it's not. On the other hand, in a way, it does seem like yesterday.